Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Join us as we play everything in August that we couldn't find a definite release date for in 1982. But first, our sponsor wants you to know what home computer you're supposed to be buying right now. And remember, Jack Tramiel loves you.
Price of a Commodore 64. Here's what you get from Apple, from IBM. For what
Great
it costs
comparison.
to add a Commodore disk drive, Apple, IBM, add a Commodore printer.
Yes, I got it. We get it. The Commodore 64 is cheap.
Add a Commodore modem.
Oh wait, that's the PC
Now you
Junior.
can get
That means this ad
Apple
has to be at
or an
least
IBM PC Junior
1984,
with
so
games.
this would have been a later
Is it
Commodore
any wonder
ad.
Commodore sells more computers than Apple and IBM combined.
Combined? Oh my goodness. So we last were on the Commodore 64 playing Avenger, and our next game is still on the Commodore 64. This is Back to Nature. Very strangely bizarre title of a game. This one first appeared in Cursor number 19 in April of 1980, or this variation of the game that you could play. And this is what the Cursor magazine, or I should say the cassette pamphlet looked like. And the game itself, here it is, Frog. It's another animated pet cartoon, but with a difference. You control a frog that attempts to catch bugs and stay alive. Our old friend, the numeric pad, provides a way for you to control the beast. The controls are easy. All the keys in the bottom row leave the frog sitting down, but extend the tongue a little, medium, or a lot. And the middle row causes the frog to jump up slightly. The top row makes the little beast stand up high as he can. Each attempt to catch a bug takes energy. As you might guess, it takes more energy to stand up and catch a fly than sit and catch it. So you have to use resources like a food and hunger kind of system going on here. So just sitting around watching flies also drains you of valuable calories. He's got worse calories than Calibeth when we played it. There's various skill levels, with higher skill levels causing the bugs to move faster, and the poor little frog will burn faster and easier. So this is the 5 1/4 floppy disk you would have seen if you got it as a demo pack, because this came out later with the 1541-2 disk drive. And so you could have played it here as well, but the very first time was here in August on your Commodore 64. And this is a reconstructed, if it was a front of a box of Commodore 64, because it never really had a front of a box. So a fake front of the box with an example of the screenshot.
Here's what you get from Apple.
Oh, Sinistar's a good one. We still haven't seen that one yet. It's coming up, though. All right, so let's pop in and play Back to Nature. This is Bob Carr, published by Commodore Business Machines at sometime in August 1982 on your Commodore 64. Back to Nature is a bizarre one. I kind of remind this of a game we played on the Atari home computer just called Frog, which I think was based on the same idea. But you can see how it looks kind of the same, but we have one problem. It originally was going to be programmed using the numeric pad. So, let's go ahead and hit a key to play. There we go. Do we need the directions? Yes, we do. Because whenever you ask for directions, it shows you the numeric pad to do the tongue of the frog to get all the bugs. But the Commodore 64 does not have a numeric pad. So what were they thinking putting it on the system? It's going to be really cumbersome to try to figure that out. The farther you have to reach, the more energy they use, and the higher skill level will cause the bug to move quickly and the frog to consume more energy. I'm so excited. Do we want 3 bugs? Yes, we do. What skill level do we want? Let's go crazy fast and go 9. Because we're crazy here. So there you go. If you look at the top left of the screen, that is my calories I'm burning. And you just use the... Oh, I got one. You use the numeric pad, if you had it on other computers that had it, to go get the flies. Look how large the frog is, though. I'd say that's even larger than the frog we saw on the Atari home computer. And it's using Petsky graphics, I think. Yeah. Nice little trick of that. Oh, and there you go. Use too much energy, and the frog dies. Watch me die on Chronologically Gaming. You ought to eat vegetables. Do we want to play again? Well, against my better judgment, yes. And yes, we want 3 bugs. And our skill level is still... Let's dumb it down. We'll go down to 3. It is a great little time waster. And it's almost like we're playing a demo on the Commodore 64. Like, wow, the character you're playing is way bigger than Frogger. This is like the ultimate game. You need to buy a Commodore 64. I need to stay down low. There we go. Use less energy and get those fly calories. Yes. Doesn't it feel that way? This feels like something you would play in the palm of your hand. If you were in the future, I mean. Yeah, and the sound effects aren't doing the game any justice. We can hit Q to end, right? Yeah. Finish the game off. Very nice. A nice little waste of time. So Back to Nature is still around the games of we saw before, but it is very bizarre. There's only like one or two other games we can compare to everything else out there. It's borderline between broken and bad, because it's just going to be something that looks cool on your computer, but it really doesn't play well as a game. Oh, there we go. Errol's going throwing out 2 stars. So it actually works better when it's not on the Commodore 64. If you played it on Cursor Magazine and then you got the cassette from the original one on other home computers, it's great. But the Commodore 64 doesn't have the numpad, so that's why it's got to be 1 star here on Commodore 64. That's 2 bugs. Nice. Yes, I like the pesky graphics though, and we're going to see more of those too. Mark's got 3 stars. Of all the games on a home computer, you give that one a 3-star rating. All right. All right, so after that, on our Commodore 64, we'll be back after this commercial break. In Japan. Why are you yelling at me? Oh, nice. Game & Watch ripoff. That must have been Bandai, man, but I don't know why he has the G on the front. So if you know more about Bandai's marketing or the mascot, let me know, because I have no idea what was going on, but I do know we got some cool handhelds to show you. These were originally in 1981 in Japan and then in other regions all over the world, so I have a few different variations. This is Crazy Crows by Bandai. Let's take a look at the box. I got some really bad images because this is kind of hard to come by. So Crazy Crows is what you would have seen in North America and a few other regions. It's electronic digital clock and computer game, almost like a Game & Watch. Very, very similar as before. If you open up the whole sleeve of Crazy Crows, you got the manual at the top right, and the system itself is a really, really small, like a slimmed down version of the Game & Watch. You can see where they're getting their inspiration from. If you're in France, this is the box you would have seen at the time. And this is in Japan. So the original one in Japan was Supari Karasu. And if you flip it on the back, that's what it looks like. And there's the French, all the instructions, everything about it. This one's essentially a fixed shooter. You're just shooting a bunch of crows. And there you go. This one, if you had it in Germany, we got them all here, all over the world. And this is slightly late. The first time you would have played it is 1981. We are not able to play this game. There is no way to emulate or simulate this one yet. If you do have a simulator, let me know and send it my way. But for Crazy Crows, since we didn't get to really play it, I have to go 1 star for now. It is simply a shooter or a fixed shooter where you can shoot some crows. Yes, right? Just from one of the other. It would have made a really good Game & Watch, the Back to Nature one. Good point. Yeah, I love it. And after that, we are still in Japan. The other handheld we're going to check out is Cross Highway. So part of the same series by Bandai, and this one is the very first, or one of the very first Frogger ways in the palm of your hand, or Frogger variant. And you can see this is the French version of it, Passage de Piton. And then if you were in North America, you would have called it Crossroad, if that one sounds more familiar. I mean, how cool is that? One of the first times you could play Frogger in the palm of your hand. And this one is going to be the one that came out before the fantastic Coleco one. That was almost the standalone. So I know they call them handhelds, but you've got to admit, those big Coleco arcade cabinet style ones, they were really large. You weren't going to take them on the go, especially with the battery consumption. So this is the manual and everything that comes inside of Crossroad, and then the back of the French box, which I think I have more pictures of that one. And then Cross Highway, which was what it was in Japan. Nice. Oh, that's right. And Epoch Man. Yeah, Jeremy Parashdar did a great review on that one, if you check that out. There it is, Cross Highway, with the manual inside. Another really small Game & Watch style game. This is another one we don't have a simulator for and can't really play it, but the first time you can play Frogger, I'd love to play this one. So either send it my way to put in the palm of my hand, or send me a simulator or a way we could showcase it here on the show. Until then, I'm going to say, because it's Frogger, I'll go 1.5 stars. I'm sure if we put it in the palm of our hand, we'd be rating it much higher. I mean, Frogger, I love it. It's awesome. All right, and with that, let's see what our next game is. After this commercial break.
Venture, prepare for Barnstorming by
Prepare for Barnstorming.
New video game you play on your Atari video computer system.
Nice. Makes you feel like we're going to play Red Baron.
Soar over windmills. It's seat of the pants flying in all its glory.
Sure, it's a tough game, but somebody's got to play it.
Don't miss Barnstorming
Awesome.
by Activision. Playing at a store near you.
By Activision. They got the Activision Rainbow too, We've been hearing about it in magazines, and here it is, finally, Barnstorming by Activision. So this one is a really fun one. Let's look at the box for Barnstorming. Oh, they went all over with the Activision rainbow. Looks beautiful. And it's just so classic. This one is a great classic game for the Atari VCS. Let's flip it over on the back. Conceived and designed by Steve Cartwright for one daredevil flying ace at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting one of the most hair-raising, heart-stopping, and breathtaking video games ever to fly across a TV screen, Barnstorming by Activision. You'll be amazed as your small but sturdy biplane flying inches off the ground actually zooms through barns, soars over windmills, and dodges flocks of pesky geese, and you're at the controls. Don't be afraid. Climb into the cockpit and take off with Barnstorming by Activision. See, I should have done the commercial myself. Yeah, it's plane flying. This one is the side view perspective, kind of like when we saw Grand Prix by David Crane by Activision, but now you get to be in a plane. Here's the other artwork we have for Barnstorming. The original and then the reconstructed. The crummy looking one and the cleaned up one. And we also have the ad you would have seen in magazines at the time. Activision, we put you in the game. It's got thrills, it's got chills. It's got that World War I vibe to it. And then if you were really good, I wonder who has this for real, but you would have gotten the Flight Instructor Barnstorming jacket. I would love to have that. Look at that. Nice. And of course, like Activision, if you do well enough and you score high enough, you'll get one of their patches. And here's an example of what the patch would look like. So cool. And the cartridge, we're going to pop in to play some Barnstorming. We only have 4 different game modes on here, and it's, I think, just speed. Hedge Hopper, Crop Duster, Stunt Pilot, and Flying Ace. Yeah, that jacket is sick. I should be wearing it right now. But actually, the one I really want is Mr. Arcade. If I can get the Mr. Arcade jacket, that's the one I'd be wearing on the show. Got some great artwork. The classic Rainbow by Activision in the background. Let's see what this game's about with the manual. If you've never played Barnstorming, it's a really easy one to play. Very great arcade game on your home console. Put your goggles on and check your controls. You're about to embark on a daredevil flight through the wild blue yonder. Take a minute to read the instructions, as Activision always says. First, you make sure the system's turned off, and then set both difficulty switches to B, select the game you want, and then do they have anything else? I think that's it. They keep it pretty simple for this one. The object of the game is to fly through a set number of barns in the shortest possible time. And we got to go fast, because we got to get that patch by Activision. Every time you make it through a barn, your count number goes down, and then whenever you get to 0, then the game's over, and you land automatically. You don't have to worry about landing the plane. Yes, Hunter, I'm all for it. Thanks, man. Simply press the red button on your joystick and push the joystick to climb. So the red button is essentially your acceleration. Really simple. Use the joystick to go up and down. It even is very easy, up and down. They don't do inverse controls like you have a joystick on for a biplane. And the difficulty switches, if you go to A, it'll lower the clearance heights of the barns. B is normal. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I always ignored the difficulty switches and never messed with them whenever I had the Atari VCS. And then also, if you have the Sears Telegame Video Arcade, you're a nerd. But if you do, the difficulty switch is A for expert, B for novice, just so you know. So just as flying a real biplane, you'll get the feel of the controls. The better you get at adjusting your throttle and handling your joystick, the better your chances to become the Flying Ace. I think that's what they titled if you get the patch, if you're a Flying Ace. The best time is achieved by covering the course with the fewest possible corrections to your altitude, so precious seconds can be shaved by flying just above windmills and just below the openings of the barns. So essentially, this game is a time trial experience. How quickly can you get to the end? You don't have to worry about stalling in midair. Throttle set to maintain minimum speed. Very, very simple. And they even have an example of the screenshot showing you what everything means on the screen. So helpful. The weather vane and then the geese. Got to dodge those geese. If you misjudge and fly over a barn, your barn count will remain unchanged and the course will be extended so you make up the missed barns and fly through the required number. Avoiding crashes with barn roofs, barn interiors, weather vanes, windmills, and geese. In other words, just dodge a lot of stuff and only go through barns. And slow down if you need to, let off that accelerator or that red button. And then if you want to, you can join the Flying Aces. We just need a time of 33.3 seconds on 151 seconds on game 2. Okay, so if you do all the different games, and where's game 4 though? Let's say game 1, 2, and 3 to be a Flying Ace. That's cool. And then send us a picture of the television screen. Is game 4 infinite? Is that why it's not there? And there he is, Steve Cartwright, the designer of Barnstorming, the newest member of Activision, discovered by David Crane. He even states, does he state it here? Yeah, thanks for David Crane helping me get this off the ground. Nice touch. Drop me a line and want to hear about the Daredevil pilots out there. Such a cool time to be part of Activision. This one has a few other versions by CCE and, of course, in Europe, or the PAL regions. We're going to play the first in North America. This is Steve Cartwright in Activision at sometime in August 1982. So this is ready to go. Let's go to the first game mode and reset the system. It has our time in the top right, top left, and how many barns we have to go through. Oh, already accelerated too fast. And every time I go through a barn, it brings the count down, but you never know if it's going to be a weather vane. Oh, we got the easy. Looks like we got the easy one. Yeah. And then if you hit the geese, it slows you down a little bit. You're just trying to get to the other side as fast as you can. Look at the smooth scrolling. Look at the sunset. The classic Activision sunset in the background. Nope. And if you miss or hit the weather vane, you just bounce off the side. Controls feel great. It's like an arcade game that you should have played already. So much fun. Of all the games you could be playing by Activision right now, this one's solid. It's not something that's pushing or going higher or further than the other Activision titles. There we go, we passed them all with a time of 52. Not too bad. Oh yeah, it is extremely repetitive. Yeah, that's true. It's very relaxing. It's also a game that you get in the zone because it's meant to be a time trial experience. All right, let's go to game mode 2 and reset. Now, we're scrolling left to right, but there's no shooting, which is kind of a rare thing. We've seen horizontally scrolling games, but most of them are shooters. And we're not shooting anything. All we have to do is fly. The better titles which have shooting that we've seen on the Atari VCS or home consoles would be something like Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back or Chopper Command, which is also by Activision. So I wouldn't give this the nod like I would with Chopper Command. I would consider Chopper Command a little bit better. But this one is, whatever it set out to do, it does very well. It's a polished game for a home console right now. Yes, someone was saying that about iOS games because honestly, everyone nowadays would take those for granted because at this point, this is a great game for 1982. It's not something that's exceptional or pushing the bar. Like I wouldn't say around 4 stars, but I'd still say about 3.5 stars of all the games you could play on a home console. Well, now I'm just flying. I'm not even doing the objective. Go through the barns. Yes, that's true. I can see Grandma playing this too. But not the grandma from Berserk. She's too cool for this game. If your grandma plays Berserk, you need to go get Marauder. Or maybe Discs of Tron. Because you got to be able to shoot something. So I'm just hammering that accelerator, and you kind of have to weave through the geese to get a good speed, but everything's going to slow you down. So you're going for the best time to go through as many as possible. For the different game modes, though, it doesn't offer too much. I feel like that's one thing we've lost going forward through every video game is all the variations. Back when the Atari came out, and then the RCA Studio 2 and Fairchild, they had so many game variations, and now as we're getting in later of 1982, we don't see nearly as much as what we used to. 60, 70 game variations all on the same cartridge, and we're down to 4 right here. It makes me think that they could have programmed this better. They could have added more game variations. Where's my 75 Barnstorming game variations? Alright, so yeah, I'm not paying attention to flying through barns. I'm just having fun smacking geese around. So what do you think? Because there's no shooting, does it kind of lower the intensity of the game or the quality of the game? If you were able to shoot and treat it like a combat flight simulator, would it have been a better experience? Like, if you shot the geese down, I would say it would have improved the experience. This is about flying. If only I could make the birds blow up whenever I bump into them, that'd be even better. Alright, so let's go game mode 4. I think, oh yeah, it's long. 25 barns you have to fly through in game mode 4. They also keep it really tight. Notice how you have to maneuver quickly. From the weather vane to the next barn, it is very fast. Oh yeah. Oh, so if you had this game at the time, and all the games we've seen so far on home consoles, Mikey's going 1.5 stars. of all the titles. That means that would be our bad range if you say 1.5 stars. I wouldn't call this game bad. This would be a fun title for everything else we've seen so far. Yes, we do want everyone to shoot stuff in video games. But there you go, all the 4 different game variations is just speeding up and just switching out how often the barn or weather vane shows up. But Barnstorming, I would still not give it in the range of 4 stars of everything we've seen so far on consoles, but it's still pretty good. I'm going to say 3.5 stars of everything so far on every home console that's out there. Victor's going 3. Yeah, it's fine. 3.5. Yep. Iconic 3 stars, very nice. And then 2.5, yeah, I can see that too, because 2.5 would be subpar. There is lots of other better titles we played on home consoles. All right, so after Barnstorming, where are we going now? Oh, time to go back to Japan and play on our Epoch Cassette Vision, not to be confused with Super Cassette Vision, which you are easily able to play that on computers and emulate and get files or the video games for it, but not here. This one is the super obscure, harder to find game, and this is Battle Vader. Now, Battle Vader, Jeremy Parrish recently did a publication, and his sources stated around March is when Battle Vader came out in Japan. And so I am going to just follow suit and say we're going to play it now to get it out of the way, because we need to get these Japanese consoles going now before the 2 big ones show up next year. So Battle Vader, let's take a look at the box. Inside of the jewel case, you would have had this very, very large cartridge. Battle Vader is really cool that every one of the Epoch Cassette Vision boxes show you just a screenshot. They are legit. They don't want to hide anything. There is no cool artwork. There is no anime. There's no artwork on the front that's drawn. It's just the game itself for Battle Vader. Flip it over the back, and they have a few different screens with a lot extra colors, it looks like, in those screenshots. And then this is based on Epoch's TV Vader, which was one of the last standalone systems that Epoch ever made. Standalone consoles, I mean. And it's pretty much the same game. It's just completely in black and white. You move left and right and you fire because it's based on Space Invaders. And the cartridge is so unique. The Epoch Cassette Vision, inside this cartridge is all the transistor-to-transistor logic. And it's kind of backwards to how we think of home consoles are. Essentially, it's like whenever the Atari came out and the Fairchild Channel F came out, the CPU was in the system, and we took the ROM and plugged the ROM into the system. But it's backwards. On the Epoch Cassette Vision, this would be essentially like the CPU and the workings of the entire console in the cartridge, and then everything else is in the Epoch Cassette Vision to make it really cheap. But that means the cartridges were more expensive. So that's why this cartridge is so large. And it's also why we can't play it, or it's very difficult to play these because they don't have a microprocessor inside. And if you open up the whole thing, there's the entire sleeve for Battle Vader. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with this one until I started the channel because it was like hiding away in Japan. It's like if you've tuned in on the show and you saw the stuff we did in early of 1970s, there were arcade systems that were out there that didn't have microprocessors either. And so we couldn't play those. So I just showcased and said, here's the arcade game, and we got to go to the next one. And that's kind of what it is here. It's the same idea. Thankfully, I found some simulators, like when we got to one of the last transistor-to-transistor logic games, and that was Monaco GP by Sega. We simulated that so we could showcase it on the show, but there's not a lot of simulators for all this. So for Battle Vader, this one, I don't have any gameplay that I can do myself, but I do have some footage right here, and this is from Video Game Kraken, playing the game Battle Vader. It is a throwback, and even more of a throwback than you think, because we've already seen Galaxian on the Cassette Vision, even though it didn't play like the actual arcade Galaxian. This is Space Invaders, which, is more rudimentary. And due to the limitations of the hardware, and I'm talking about the hardware on the cassette, this is Space Invaders, but you notice how there's not a lot of rows of Space Invaders? They only did one row, but every time you hit a Space Invader, it moves up a row. So essentially, you have all the rows of Space Invaders, but they're just not there. Very, very clever. This is crunch time here on Epoch. And this only has 4 different game modes that you can switch out on the system. And I would liken this system to the RCA Studio 2 that we saw back in 1977 in color. it reminds me of the game system. Now, the audio isn't going through the console. It actually will go through your television, but you don't have any controllers. You have to bring the whole console to you and then use the knobs and dials and buttons to play the games. Is that the one it is at the bottom? Yeah, so the game will not be able to run for us, but we do have some footage over here that you can see of how it plays. I mean, look at the bottom. The ship you play as looks just like the same ship we played on the RCA Studio 2, which is a connection of, what is that, 5 or 6 pixels total? Man, amazing. And just think of it this way, while if it is true this was March 1982 when this game was released in Japan, look at how big that gap is between the North America console video games and Japanese console video games. We may have started the race first, and Japan is starting the race behind us, but they're going to be catching up very, very fast. So there you go, that's Battle Vader on the Epoch Cassette Vision. It is a quaint game. If I had this myself, I just would think it was so cool because I was able to get this to run to play myself. But for all the games we've seen so far on all the other home consoles, I think we got the ColecoVision out right now. We got the Creative Vision out right now. The Battle Vader game is bad. I'm going to say 1.5 stars of all the games you could play. And it does work well enough for Space Invaders, but it's also not even using a controller or joystick. This is on your lap, like using the buttons and dials. Oh, there you go. Alice going 4 stars for that one. Nice. So 3 stars from Mikey, 2 from Errol. Yeah, I would have loved to play the game. There's better Space Invaders out there for sure. I mean, think of the one on the Atari VCS. But the one on the Atari VCS wouldn't have existed without For the Minds of Japan, obviously giving us Space Invaders. Yeah. Yes, definitely. I bet you. And 1.5 there for Battle Vader. I'm just thinking of all the things that are out there. If you had every console right now in front of you, and you were playing all of them, of all the consoles there, Battle Vader is the low point. Well, Japan's in the low point for now, but it's not going to be for long. That's what I'm really excited for. Here on the channel, showing off the slow evolution of time and seeing Japan catch up and all the games get better and better. We're starting to see more Japanese home computers here on the show, and then next is going to be the home consoles. Yeah, right? All right, and with that, let's see what our next game is. After that, it's time to go on the brand new Dragon 32 and play some Black Sanctum. Here's the box for Black Sanctum. Oh, very nice artwork. We got a cassette inside of there, and this is one we've already seen on the TRS-80 color computer. It was released back in August of 1981, and I think we played it in November of 1981. But anyway, semantics aside, here we get to play it again on the Dragon. And the other art we have for Black Sanctum is the cassette you're going to pop in to play. This is not to be confused with Black Sanctum, which is the graphic version. This is the text-only version. And we got the manual for your new Dragon computer. In Black Sanctum, all machine-readable formats and written documentation accompanying them are copywritten. Oh, okay. They don't need to read that part. Welcome to Black Sanctum. The object of this game is overcome the forces of evil. Hey, there we go. It didn't say you need to score a certain amount of points. It's all about overcoming the forces of evil. I like that. The computer will interpret 2-word commands. So we got a 2-word text parser here. First word is a verb, second is a noun. For example, if you want to pick up a box, you say get box. A sizable vocabulary of verbs and nouns is incorporated in each game, and they can be creative in your choice of commands. To speed play, the first 4 letters of each word is sufficient for the computer to understand you. Nice touch. If you've ever seen speed runs of text adventure games, and yes, there are speed runs of text adventure games, that's what they do. They type in the first few letters and that's it, because they know that it's going to understand it. And then you can examine objects and give you a description of it, and you can discover valuable information. To move from one location to the other, and obvious directions are listed. I think this is one that doesn't understand N, W, E, and S for direction. You have to actually type in north, south, east, and west, but you can save the game, which is the wave of the future. And it shows you how to load. We got the warranty info. Pretty bare bones, Mr. Dragon there. Let's pop it and play Black Sanctum. This is Ron Krebs of Mark Data Products, published by Dragon Data at sometime in August 1982. All right, so this is not the graphic version, and for this one, I'm going to have to go add some RAM to us really quick, if you just give me 1 sec. There it is. We got our RAM in, and now we can go. And we're going to speed this up to high heaven. We're not waiting for the cassette to load here on Chronologically Gaming. There we go. Dragon Data presents and Mark Data Products. In this adventure, you'll meet with the forces of black magic. You must find and destroy this evil to win the game. At times, you'll find a need for certain items to do things, but a good adventurer will be resourceful and figure out a way around these problems. Like throwing your computer against the wall when you can't figure out the problems. Happy adventuring. Press any key to proceed. Do you want to play a save game? No, we do not. All right, here it begins. I'm in a rugged mountain country. There are a lot of pine trees and snow is falling. Visible items here are a cabin in the distance. A cabin in the woods. I see a way to go north, south, and west. Welcome to Black Sanctum Adventure. Now, this one, when we played it last time, was pretty much the same game on the TRS-80 Coco. And this is going to be the same idea. And we're even going to play the next one that we played last, which was Calixto Island. They were released about the same time. Yes. Oh, that's right. Isn't that great? You can just get RAM like right now. In 1982, you couldn't do that. You have to go to the store and see if they have RAM in stock, and then put it in your computer and go for it. Yes. I'm not going to sing the jingle now, Errol. Sorry about that. All right. So what are we going to do? Let's go cabin. Oh, I got to type a little slower. The Dragon 32 isn't going fast enough. I'm outside a rustic mountain cabin. Snow is falling. I can see a door and a shovel here. Let's open door. And I can only go west. Okay, door is open. Go door. I'm in the living room of a mountain cabin. Stairs lead to an upper room. We can see the fireplace, jug of red wine, door, butterfly net. So this is kind of the old school text adventure game. It clears the whole screen, and it presents everything you have and shows you directions you can go and what is available. All right, so let's go ahead and look. Fireplace. It's made of large stones with a wooden mantle. It's getting cold in here. Maybe I should close the door? Okay. Look. Mantle. Does this mean this text adventure game is going to give... We have to actually put clothes or bundle up clothes? All right, so look mantle. I found something. Wait, what? It doesn't tell you what we found, but it just says I found something. All right, so what did I find, though? It's wooden mantle. What did I find? Look something. No, it doesn't understand. So what did we find? I found something, but it doesn't tell us what it is. Oh, Hodor, nice reference. Very, very good, Mark. Oh, I do not have a decent singing voice. I have a decent announcing voice, Errol, but singing, no. That is my wife's territory. She has the voice of an angel. So if I can't know what it is, I just have to follow the walkthrough that I'm obviously not following. Okay, look, matches. All right, so we have the fireplace, the matches, the door. Okay, so now after we look at them, then we know we can get things. All right, let's go ahead and get the jug. Okay, got it. Let's get that net. Get everything that's not nailed down. And then get... shovel. Oh, I don't have a shovel. Do I have one? Oh, I think I have one. Drop shovel. I don't have any shovel. Okay, so forget about the shovel. All right, so let's go stairs. No, go back. Same way to remove items like the Apple II. I'm in a dimly lit bedroom. Stairs lead to a lower room. Visible items are a bed with a young woman on it. Hey! Wait, it's not that kind of game. And a closet. All right, so look bed. It's a queen-size bed with white sheets and a quilt, and there's a woman on it. Get sheet. I'm following the walkthrough, but... all right, so after we get sheet, let's drop it. And then look woman. She's quite pretty, with long dark hair. She appears to be in a trance. Uh-oh. She got a hold of the... this is supposed to be taking place in 18th century monastery, so there must be evil afoot. And there's a note clutched in her hand. All right, get note. Yeah, description's all right. We've seen better. There is much better text adventure games so far. The way it's presented it's okay, but the biggest problem is saying North instead of N to move. So you actually have to type in the full direction you want. Okay, so we got the note. Let's go ahead and read it. The message reads, "They're after me. Remember, invocare episcopus." Quick, anyone know Latin? What is that one? All right, so we read it. Let's drop the note. We don't care about the note. That's true. If you don't even have a girlfriend, maybe the woman in the bed will help. If that's your thing at the time. On the Coco version, 16K, yes, that's right. Yeah, they had to shorten the descriptions. If you think of the games like Zork, which is really descriptive, we get almost full paragraphs for that one. All right, so after we do that, let's go ahead and go closet. I'm in a large closet used for clothes storage. We have a hooded black robe, full-length mirror. Ooh, get that robe. Can we wear it? I don't understand get robe. Take robe. Okay, wear robe. And that's the other thing. The text parser didn't understand get. It understood take. All right, wear the robe. Oh, we can't. Can we don robe? No, doesn't understand that either. That's true, and it did fill an entire disc. Right, this is on cassette tape. Don't have as much space here. All right, go mirror. Okay, after we go in the mirror, let's go ahead and go south. And you got to type the whole thing. We're in a large narrow corridor. A bronze plaque reads, "The St. Sebastian Monastery, 1739. There you go. I'll leave you all in mystery until then. So there you go. That's the Black Sanctum. The same experience, pretty much the same we saw on the Coco. I'd say of all the games you could play on a home computer at this point, it's a bad title. 2 stars, best of the bad, but there's other better text adventure games you could be playing. This one is going to be redone at some point in the future. We've already seen quite a bit of graphic adventure games, has a few pictures on there. Some look rudimentary, some are pretty impressive, but for Black Sanctum, there is better experiences for adventure games that you could play. Oh, Mikey's with me, 2 stars. Oh, that's right, rope, not robe. Thank you. But that's not all. You got a hankering for more text adventure games? Then how about Calixto Island on the Dragon 32? The exact same, or pretty much the exact same game we played on the TRS-80 color computer in August of 1981. So here we go. They added some great work, though. Look at this. Dragon Data has a great front of the box, or front of the cassette. Both this one, Calixto, and the Black Sanctum. So cool. And I think that's it. Yeah, we just had the cassette we're going to play in our Dragon system. This one has the manual as well, and the very first Dragon game we played, the Ghost Attack, I found out where the manual was, but it was cataloged in another place, so sadly we didn't see the manual for that one. So this is Calixto Island. Welcome to Calixto Island. Your object is to find the treasure and return it to its rightful place. Almost like we're playing a Colossal Cave game. Yes, too evil. Yeah, same here. I wasn't allowed to do anything with witchcraft or wizards or dungeons or dragons. The computer will interpret 2-word commands like the pick up a box, move north. Looks the same, sizable vocabulary. Yeah, they're wording this the same as they did with Black Sanctum to move from one location to the other. Oh, you can also try help. We don't do that a lot because now that I'm following walkthroughs, but you did back then. You typed in help quite a bit. Help me play this game. And you can save the game for this one. How do you load it up? Nice, there you go, with our warranty info. Thank you, Dragon Data. Let's pop it and play Calixto Island. Again by Ron Krebs of Mark Data Products. By Dragon Data at sometime in August 1982 for the Dragon. So this one again, I gotta get my RAM up here. All I gotta do is go to the store and buy it if they have it in stock. Alright, so let's do this. And speed it up. I hope we never have to wait for another cassette ever again. There you go. Your goal in this adventure is to find a treasure and return it to its proper location. At times you'll find a need for certain items to do things, but a good adventurer will always be resourceful and figure a way around these problems. Like asking your entire family to come in the room and help you solve the problems. Yeah, I tried it. Actually, if you look back on the TRS-80 color computer, I started doing in instead of north, and it wasn't working. And I had to do the full text. And I even tried it here before the live show, and it did the same thing. Do you want to play a saved game? No, we do not. I'm in Professor Lagarto's comfortable study. Visible items are the flight of stairs, a roll-top desk, an oriental rug, an antique table, and welcome to Calixto Island Adventure. So this one is a totally different flavor, which is kind of cool because the adventure games are giving you a new theme of what kind of game, where do you want it to take place? What kind of setting do you want? What kind of world do you want to explore? Because you really didn't have that yet on other games. That's right. Oh, that's right. Maybe the color, or not the color, maybe the ones with the pictures. I think they did improve those. We'll see eventually. All right, so let's go ahead and examine table. There's a message here. Read message. I'm also feeling a slight hesitation in the text. Like I can't type as fast as I could, but that's possibly the emulation, not the Dragon 32. All right, so the message reads, the professor's notes should give some clues. Oh, okay. Examine desk again. Sorry, I can't do that. It's locked. Unlock desk. That's why I'm reading this way. Unlock desk, because that's how long it takes for me to type on this system. I have no key. All right, get rug. Okay, wow. There's a trap door under it. Open door. I found something. Go stairs. There, we're in the dimly lit attic filled with old furniture. So every time you go in a new room, it clears the screen, gives you a brief description, and then objects and everything like that. That's true. It did take a long time. Some of the worst ones we've seen have been on the Commodore VIC-20, where you load the game, it goes through a title screen, and then you have to load it again to get to the opening of the game, and then you have to load it again after you want to actually play the game. And there's 3 loads. So I just said, you know what? I don't want to give you the full 1982 experience. We're just gonna have to do states and just load the states. So we can just go right to the game. Oh man, so much patience back in 1982. All right, we see a way to go down. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and get the flashlight. We're going to need that if it's dark. Okay, got the flashlight and go down into the darkness. This one's slightly more horror. I know the other one was supposed to be mysterious in a monastery, but this one's trying to do even more horror, but a more straightforward story, if you want to call it a story. Yes, the room is dark and we might get eaten by a grue. Wait, wrong game. I'm in Professor's study again. And we have a ladder leading down to the cellar. Okay, so let's go ladder. Oh, it's dark in here. I can't see. Light, flashlight, which I wouldn't have used that per se. Light flashlight sounds weird. The flashlight's lit. I'm in a musty storage cellar. So if this is your cup of tea right now, where we are, you figured out that you could turn on the light in the dark of the text adventure game, and you are intrigued, then you are a true adventurer, and this is the kind of game that you would want to play in 1982. So I'm already feeling it. I'm already feeling the, I want to see what's next. What's the next part of it? That is the reward. When you play text adventure games, it feels like you're frustrated for a long period of time, but when you get that one thing right, or you figure out one thing, then it opens up the experience and makes it feel really, really, really fun. Like, let's keep going. But that's all we're going to do. If you want to see more, play some more Calixto Island. So there you go on the Dragon 32. I'd still say just like the Black Sanctum, I'm going to go 2 stars. If you like more of a horror motif, I could see you going 2.5 stars. But of all the games so far you could play, there are better adventures and better presentation and a little bit more quality of life that's put into them. And also, if you like very rudimentary high-res pictures, then you would want to play those games instead of just text only. But I say it's still fun. Yeah, 2 stars from Errol. It's got to be your cup of tea. All right, let's see what our next game is. We're back on the brand new Commodore 64. Here's Cavern Run 64. And we can see the cassette case for this one. We already saw this on the Commodore VIC-20, and now we have the Commodore 64 version. Journey into the cavern depths, but don't run out of fuel. Use the joystick or the keys. Nice. I think this is developed by the Computer Room. There we go. Yes, because if you compare them to the Scott Adams games, you can kind of understand why I'm saying 2 stars for those titles. All right, what other artwork do we have for Cavern Run? Besides the cartridge, we also have the cassette itself. Very nice. And that's it. Let's pop into play some Cavern Run. By Computer Room, published by Bubble Bus Software in the United Kingdom in sometime August 1982. Just ignore that was not cassette. All right, so this is Cavern Run. It's going to be pretty much just like we played on the VIC-20. It was earlier in August that we saw it on the VIC-20. All right, so how do we want to play this? I'm going to go F1 for that skill level, and we are in. Man, that's a flickery mess. Over on the right side is how much fuel is left. Good night. That didn't last long. You crashed. Yes, I know. Oh, there's no checkpoint. You just go to the next one. Good night. Okay, so on the right side is fuel, and this one is taking some inspiration from Caverns of Mars, but there's no shooting. All it is moving left and right. I'm even doing the easiest level, F1. I can't believe how bad it is. Yeah, I'm trying a few of the buttons on my Commodore 64 joystick, but they don't respond. Yeah, this barely works. Let's try F7 and see if that's better. I don't know the difference. What was the difference in the game modes? Okay, that's pretty clever. Developers just putting in a bunch of different game modes, but they don't make a difference. Scary. Yes, this is very broken. And in a way, if you only had a few of these games for the Commodore 64 that we've experienced, you wouldn't have high hopes for this computer, which is really funny. It's almost like we're giving the Commodore 64 a really bad rap. Gosh, yeah, this is terrible. It barely even controls. I'm going to have to go way down there. Because whenever you move the joystick all the way to the left and right, it lags so much to the point that you're going to hit the wall anyway. It feels like it's a no-win situation. I'm going to go all the way down to half star. It's way down there. 0.64 stars, that's right, for the Commodore 64. Yes. Oh yes, that's right. It is very similar to the driving games that we played, where it's just scrolling down on the screen. Nice shout out there. All right, so that's a terrible showing on the Commodore 64. If the rest of the games are like this, then there's no way this computer is going to last. But we know what's going to happen. All right, let's see what our next game is. We are still in the United Kingdom, and here on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, this is City. Because of this simple title, only 4 letters, this one kind of gets lumped into other games, but this is just City. Let's take a look at the box. Now, this box is the re-release by Terminal Software that they did in 1983. The one we're going to be playing is the first time you could ever play this title. So this box is fancy, but this is technically the 1983 box. You have 4 players that you can play with on your 48K Spectrum. Flip it over the back. The game is, now this is an interesting description. After I play the game, just bear that in mind. The City is a real-time, better than a board game in which the Spectrum keeps track of the money and properties and acts as timekeeper while the city you build takes on a life of its own. The city has banks, factories, houses, apartment blocks, shops, and pubs. 4 property developers struggle for rents and profits, building, purchases, and demolishing their way to £1 million. But life isn't that simple because in City you have to pay taxes, and the banks charge interest on overdrafts too. When people start to move about and property taxes alter, you'll need to be glad that the Spectrum is keeping track of everything while you just play the game. You can play with friends or with the Spectrum. Now, they call it a real-time game. It is not real-time. It's some hype. But it's full-color, high-res graphics. I think every game's high-res at this point. Real-time keeps you on your toes. 4 different game types. And I think they say real-time just because there's elements that are working in the background. But no, it's not real-time. Better than a board game. I don't know about that either. This one's a big game. This one is blow-your-mind kind of game because I don't believe this one exists either. If you open up the inside sleeve, we have different color schemes on sides 1 and 2, and this is the Terminal Software re-release. Shows you how to play the game, starting it up. What you're going to do is choose from the utility screen. You have to put in the number of people by hitting E on your Spectrum keyboard, and you can have up to 4. After you put in the number of people, then you just decide how long you want the game to be. It can be a race, short, medium, or long game. And they have different characteristics after you select the game type. Be sure that the other players enter the game before the Spectrum takes over because it has to have 4. So if you don't have 4 people to play with, it'll be you against 3 computers. Doesn't sound very, very fair. The objective is we're going to start with £200,000, and the winner is the first to make over £1 million. We'll move around using the cursor keys of your ZX Spectrum with 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then when you bump into sides of the grid, which is the top-down view of the city, the Spectrum will give you some prompts. Whenever you see the prompt, you pick whatever's sufficient and press the control key, and then when in doubt, you can push C to continue or I for information, and it tells you what the commands are. And then it shows you those inputs later. So the prompts you give during the course of the game, the information available are sufficient to allow you to play the game immediately, which means this inside sleeve is saying, you don't need any more information here. The game will do it all for you. Yeah, right. If you are sent to the jail in the bottom right of the screen for the crime of bumping into another player's marker, the term of imprisonment depends on the number of your previous offenses. Only one player may be jailed at a time. There's no penalty for offenses committed while the jail is occupied, so it's kind of like Monopoly in that sense. Players in jail remain active or the Spectrum will forget them. At the end of a term of imprisonment, you return to the scene of the offense to rejoin the game. And you can save. You probably will need to save, especially if you do a long game. There's the cassette we're going to pop in, the original and then terminal software. Both are terminal software. But the original was, I'm not sure if it was done in Russia or just done by someone who was Russian. So I think it's all the same we read before. Yeah, this is all the same that we read before. And then there it is. The original was done by published by Dosimotis, and then later by Terminal. It's time to play City. This is by Kazakov Vladimir at some time in August 1982, or Terminal Software in 1983. Are you ready for this? This is one of those blow-your-mind games. During the running of the game, you will call up utilities, and E will let people enter the game, because you can come in at any time. Here we go. Select the game length we want. We want to do, let's do a short game. So I'm hitting S on the keyboard. It starts off with a top-down view of the entire city. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is essentially like a proto-Sim City in August of 1982. So I just hit E. I'm going to enter the game and put my company down. I'm going to call mine Chronoco. I think that'll fit. There you go. So the first company is Chronoco. I'm the owner. You're starting with 200,000 pounds. You try to get to 1 million before any of the other companies. And I'm going to be as that color, which I believe is fuchsia. So you have to keep track of what color you are. And then it's going to rebuild the city, show me, and my turn. There's my symbol. I'm playing as the fuchsia piece on the board. Yeah, thanks, Mark. All right, let's put in our next player. Did I wait too long? I think I did. Let's try it. I'm still trying the E key to see if we can come back in. Uh-oh, I think we waited too long and the computer might take over. Let's see. Okay, yeah, they're doing a phase that goes by. That's that bar at the top of the screen. All right, so then we'll have to play this way without multiple people, and the computer will come and take over. But whenever it's your turn, you move the cursor keys around, you go about the city, and whenever you get to a prompt, which is at one of the intersections, and it's random, here we go, it's going to say B, C, U, or info. If I hit info, it's going to tell us B is to build in the position you bumped into. C is to do nothing, and then utilities is to show you more options. All right, so we can do M for more info, and it explains how hits are worked because it's like a more complicated, not really a board game style of Monopoly, but the idea is like a management simulator and a city builder at the same time. So it's not what you'd expect when you think of SimCity, because we're thinking of the future of what SimCity is. This is the proto version. You're going to be building and putting things down and putting things on the city based on your color and filling up as much as you can with what you have, and then taking care of your part of the city, and then the other players are building up their side with their color, and then you start fighting over territory, basically. All right, so you can do P for property info or income. Nice. There's what you can build: houses, factories, apartments, shops, pubs, and banks. Very nice. So I used my turn. Yeah, I used my turn just to get information. And that little cursor across the screen is rebuilding anybody that has made progress from the last turn. And there it is, just like I said. The computers jumped in. They're now playing as yellow. I'm going to move around my fuchsia piece around the board. And now I can decide, oh, I'm going to do something. I'm going to build a house. So I select build. You can see my little house is put down. It's the same color as me. And then you can see my city starts to grow. And I'm going to raise funds. Looks like they bought, was that a bank they just put down as the yellow character? Okay, moving around this side. Okay, let's build a factory here. Or what? Oh, they put a bank down, so I'll put a bank due. Okay, got a bank on my side. Let's see if we can enter the game as a... I don't think we can. I'm not sure. What a weird... It is. Whoa, that's so strange. So we've never seen a game do this. When you decide to play a multiplayer game, you decide from the beginning how many people, but not here. This game is... I started off building my company, and then the computer took over and made a company, and then I could just jump in with someone else. So this is someone else playing as their title. So we'll name this company Apple, which will be controlled by another human being. And now Apple is green, the computer is yellow, and then we can also have a fourth, so a fourth player can jump in. But very bizarre of the way that they're doing this. So now it's Apple's turn. Apple uses the cursor keys, moves about the board, and let's build one here. Let's build the bank for Apple here. And then here it is. I think we can put someone else in. Because if we don't, it's going to do a computer and jump them in. So the computer did its turn, built a second bank. You can see it by the symbol doing the yellow. Yeah, this idea is way, way ahead of its time as you think of all the games we've seen so far. But you can also see how it's very frustrating and a little rudimentary by how it plays. All right, so the second human player that we're going to be playing as, we'll call this one Microsoft. Will that one fit? It does, yes. So Microsoft's in. Microsoft's playing as blue. They started way down there in the bottom left. Yeah, so far we haven't seen any that allow this, unless you think of arcade. You know, arcade games let you jump in before you decide how many people are going to play. But at home and in this kind of game, which is a pseudo simulation, it's just bizarre. All right, so it's now Apple's turn. They move the cursor keys. I'm going to have Apple start taking over the top left. So let's go ahead and build out a factory here. And then it's Microsoft's turn. And they came in late, which is kind of not fair. Let's have Microsoft build their bank right down here. There we go. And then the computer just did its turn as plain as yellow. That's right. I remember those commercials too. We're not going to see those here on the channel for a very long time. So it's true what they said in the manual. Everything that you have to know about the game is right here, and it's explained if you select info and you want to read through all the text. So if you had friends that wanted to play something like this on a home computer, it would take them a little bit of time to get used to. Let's build our bank. And then yellow does its turn. Chrono Co's going to go. Let's build another house here. There it is. And it will take a long time to get started. I know they had different game links, but you get the idea. You're moving around and you're plotting and building all the parts for your city. And it's kind of like we're doing a territorial expansion style game. So it's a pseudo city building game, but also a pseudo management simulator. Yes, I don't know if he had the attention span either. This is beyond what we'd score any other title. There's no other game like this. City is the only game that's like this because they're taking management simulation games we've seen that are in text form, or maybe a sprinkling of graphics, but doing it full on. It's like a full-on simulator that's multiplayer. So I have no idea. If I had this in front of me, considering the other games out there, I actually am impressed. I'm going to say, just because of this concept, I'm going to say 3.5 stars. Just because of how fresh this is. How well it's executed, though, it's slow-paced. It's done on the ZX Spectrum. And the one we played was the 1983 release. If we play the original from 1982, it's pretty much the same idea. Just a little bit of color here and there. I know that they tweaked a few things and some bug fixes from the 1983 one, but as far as speed and how quickly the game runs, it's great. Yes, right? 2.5 is being nice. Yes, I understand. Mikey's going 3. Yeah, this is slow-paced gaming sim, so it'd have to be up your alley, but I can't fault this as how ambitious it is. And it's not ambitious as bad. It's actually ambitious and a pretty cool idea. We've already seen the let's be way too ambitious and the game's just a piece of trash. This is not trash. This is actually pretty cool. All right, it's time to put the video game playing on pause. Next episode, we're going to have another riff on Defender and some more games for your brand new Dragon 32 and Commodore 64. That's it for today, and like I always say, I'll see you in the arcade. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.